John Fredericks, America's Godzilla of Truth. He's popular and proficient in picking politics with prophetic precision. And now J. Fred's picking sports. Are y'all ready for this? All across the airwaves and streams of the John Fredericks Media Network, John, Jack, and Nate, three guys that are pretty wise when it comes to picking winners. Football, basketball, baseball, soccer, golf, UFC battles, you name it. When the game is on your mind and money's on the line, Godzilla Wins is your guide to picking winners. Before you make that play, hear what J. Fred has to say. Godzilla Wins on the John Fredericks Media Network.
Oh yeah, for entertainment purposes only.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Godzilla Wins Saturday Pick Show. I'm your host, Jack Fredericks, alongside my father, the Godzilla of Truth, John Fredericks. It is a lovely Saturday morning here in Mississippi on October 28th, and we have an absolutely packed show for you today. We're going to be talking college football for the first hour, and then we're going to do a little NFL after that. The college hour will be joined by Dan Angel, senior writer for GodzillaWins.com. Hey, go to GodzillaWins.com for all of your sports previews and predictions. And for the NFL hour, we'll be joined by none other than Darian Kelly to handicap all of the NFL games for the week. For Sunday, we're also joined, of course, by senior contributor, senior editor Nate Perry. Been with us since the beginning, and he's got his sharpest plays available for us. GodzillaWins.com and all of its subsidiaries are for entertainment purposes only. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537 in Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Michigan, Nebraska, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, or Wyoming. Call 800-327-5050. Visit gamblinghelpline-ma.org in Massachusetts. Call 877-G-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY to 467-369 in New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona, 1-800-522-4700 in Kansas, New Hampshire, 888-789-7777, or visit ccpg.org. In Connecticut, 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa, or visit opg.org in Oregon. Please gamble responsibly, everyone. All right, I'm here with my panel of perfect predictors. We are here for a spooky Saturday coming up on Halloween this week, and some of these lines I think might scare the heck out of a lot of you. Dad,
not me,
not you. Never been
afraid of a line. Never been afraid of chopping wood. That's how you make money. You bet against the bad teams. You lay the spread. You're gonna come out 50, 58, 60% winners. Don't bet the dog if you don't think they can win.
Yeah, that's fearless Fredericks. That's what they call him in some circles. I don't know where, but I'm sure they call him that somewhere. Dad, if you're in a state that offers DraftKings and you want to get involved in our promo code, the greatest promo code in the history of sports gambling world ever, how can you get involved in that?
Well, I tell you what, DraftKings, first of all, they're great people. They've been a sponsor of us since the beginning, both on my radio show, but also on Godzilla Wins. Got to wait here for this plane to go overhead. We live right by the Pittsburgh airport, so we just had a plane. But hey, we got NBA coming up, and the wait is over. Basketball is back, and DraftKings Sportsbook. Now, this is the official sports betting partner of the NBA. They're celebrating this with an unbeatable offer. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets. Now, Michael Coleman, you're in the studio. I know you follow NBA. I know you're a basketball fan. You bet $5. $5, Mike. You can't get a cup of coffee at Starbucks for that. You bet $5 on any NBA game, win or lose, it doesn't matter. You're going to start the season with an instant dub of plus 200. And you can go to DraftKings Parlays. Everyone's got a shot at even bigger basketball wins. You can string together multiple bets from the same game, or you can build your parlay across multiple games for a shot at making your payday even better. Now, here's all you have to do. Basketball, football, college football, NFL. It's more fun when you're in the action. All you got to do is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code Godzilla. I love that word. Promo code Godzilla. New customers Get $200 in bonus bets instantly for betting just $5 only at DraftKings Sportsbook with the only promo code you ever want, and that is promo code Godzilla. Now, the crowd is yours. Now, you got to be 21 or older. You have to be in a state where it's allowed. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance, so get those bets in. Eligibility and deposit restrictions are always going to apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call the Problem Gambling Helpline, 888-532-3500, DraftKings.com. Promo code Godzilla 5 get you 200 free bets. What do you think?
$5 get you $200 in free bets. We love the promo code Godzilla. So everyone, we're going to start here with the World Series, but before we do that, I want to check in with Dan for a minute, because Dan, I know the soccer season out there in Europe has started, and I don't think it's been going super well for your teams. I just want, here at Godzilla Wins, we want to be able to support those sports fans who are in the middle of a painful stretch. And it seems like those European soccer teams, of which I think you have 3, are struggling. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about it so we can help you out here?
Yeah, so in the past week, my Finnish soccer team, KTP, has been relegated. My English soccer team, Bristol Rovers, has fired its coach. And my German soccer team, Union Berlin, is now on, I believe, 9 consecutive losses. So it's been painful.
And out there in Hawaii, Dan, like what time do these games air? Like what time are you watching these games?
So Union, we made the Champions League last year, which says how things have cratered this year, but Bundesliga matches air at 3:30 in the morning here. Champions League matches air at 8 a.m. So I'm usually able to catch the second half of Champions League matches because I take Amy to work, get her set up, and then I go do my stuff, and I'm able to find a Starbucks or something where I can watch the second half, which is usually when we give up the goal that caused us to lose 1-0. So perfect timing there. But yeah, it's just been a total disaster, basically.
We used to produce a lot of Bundesliga content on GodzillaWins.com, and I was surprised to hear Union Berlin was struggling because, like you said, they were. I mean, I published all those articles, and they were good last year.
They finished fourth last year.
We
won our first 3 matches to start the year, and three of those matches we've lost have been Champions League matches. So we've been facing the likes of Real Madrid, Braga, teams of that caliber. But then we've also gotten back in the domestic league, and we've just had so much luck go against us this year. So this is just a season where probably a lost cause. I'm just hoping for a mid-table finish and just try and get back after it next year.
Tough grind, 3:30 in the morning. 8 a.m. is a little bit better. Nate knows about
next year's gonna feel so easy for me.
Oh yeah, I would imagine so. Nate, I mean, you grind on the World Golf Tour at times. I think a week or 2 ago you were up at midnight watching the Japanese golfers.
I was. Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing. It's just horrible on the West Coast sometimes. I mean, it's 5 in the morning right now for me to do the radio show. John's living a life of luxury at 8 a.m.
Yeah, that's true. He is. Usually he's up on the radio about at 6 a.m. on the East Coast. So that means
for me, I actually on Saturday I actually get to sleep in. I don't have to get up till 6.
Yeah,
instead of 3:45.
But we don't want to exclude our West Coast friends here and not invite them on the show. Otherwise, we would be just the
or beyond the West Coast.
Yeah, or Pacific Islanders. So listen, let's talk a little World Series. So last night was the game 1. I was at a restaurant and I saw the first couple innings and was pretty excited for the Diamondbacks. That seems like kind of a fun story. Then I went to bed at 9:30 because that's what I do, and I woke up to a announcement, I guess, on my phone, a notification that Adolis Garcia once again hit another home run. and sent the Rangers their first win in a first walk-off since 2018. So I guess we'll do some picks. I mean, I don't know. Dad, we'll start with you because you're famous for watching the postseason until the Astros lose, and then you refuse to watch a game, but you still like to gamble. So
Jack, are you just trying to depress us all? I mean, between
yeah.
my soccer disaster, the
Well,
Astros
that's what he does.
the Astros blowing it for John,
learning.
and Nate's Phillies ticket melting away.
This is what he
Like-
does, right? And then when the
Like, my
Titans
God,
lose, he'll be
this is
like
just such a
sending me
sad
texts.
opening.
Your team said, "Yeah, this is what he does." Okay, so this is shit. Welcome to my world, Dan. Okay, he's just a needler, and
Hey,
so he put
John,
this
the
segment up
difference
here. Yeah,
The difference
just to piss
is
us off.
the Astros get to come back next year. My team has to drop down a league.
Yeah. The Astros don't have
like-
to play in the minor leagues. I'm not a pessimist. I'm just I'm contextualizing what's been going on the last couple of weeks. I'm all about
I know.
context.
What did he say? What,
I'm
what word was
contextualizing.
it? The hell's
I'm
that mean, Nate?
contextualizing. It means it.
Providing
Dad,
context.
Will you pick a winner for the World Series?
Yeah.
I'm contextualizing. Look, is there a World Series? Like, I could give a rat's ass. Okay, my team's out. I'm a baseball hater. I hate everybody but my team. I didn't watch the game last night. I just don't care. But I hate Texas. So I hate all the teams, but I hate Texas more. So on the hate list, they're like number one. They're over like Jacksonville. I mean, they are number one hate. I can't stand this team. Can't stand Evaldi. I really don't like any of the plays. And then you got George W. throwing the first ball out. Hey, dude, how about the 4 wars you got us into? You know what? Get out of my face. I can't stand Bush. I can't stand the Rangers. So I tell you what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to bet. Here it is right now. Before I get off the air, I'm going to put my bet in Diamondbacks to win the thing plus 245, right? You bet $200, you're going to get 580 back. I'm not going to watch the damn thing, but you know what? George Bush, this Bush, that Bush, Texas Rangers. You know what? Get out of my face. I'm betting Arizona. I'm not going to watch a game, and I'll see you April 1st when we come back and kick their ass.
Okay, so
Spoken like a guy who's just totally over baseball season. Not worried.
Yeah.
I'm totally over it, dude. I mean, I'm
Not
totally over it. And then same thing, Jack. I got to get up today because I go to bed early. I got to get up. Oh, Ortiz Garcia hit a game-winning homer. And then I got your brother in there, texting me, Seawald sucks. Like, I'm over it. So I'm betting Arizona, and I guess I'll check the score at the end, and I'll check my account and see if I won. Other than that, I could give a rat's ass.
Okay, so Dan, all right, the George Bush angle is an interesting one. First, I don't think you put it in your model, but I guess I understand where you're coming from there. So Dan, regardless, I kind of think the plus 240 is a sharp bet. I really thought it was sharp, like in the 5th inning last night. Maybe not so much anymore, but I mean the Diamondbacks are giving everyone fits. What do you think?
Yeah, I can't endorse hate betting as a strategy on the way John just did, but I do think Arizona plus 240 has good value. I mean, their mascot's a snake, but it feels like they should be a cockroach because this team just will not die. Like, Arizona just keeps finding new ways to come back to life, and even though last night should have been a kill shot from Texas's perspective, I mean, you beat Gallon by getting deep into the bullpen. I mean, that should ruin Arizona the rest of the series, but nothing makes sense with this Diamondbacks team. So this is one where I'm just staying the heck away with it with my money. If I'm investing in anything in the state of Arizona, it's going to be college football. But yeah, I'm not going to bother with touching this. But if I was going to make a play, Diamondbacks at plus 240 is a solid value play.
I just did it right now on my phone. I bet $200 on Arizona to pay $690. I think it's
that's good value.
I like what Dan says. You can't count this team out. I mean, they just keep coming back. They win at home. They win on the road. They don't make any sense. They're not that good, but they're a scrappy bunch. So
they are trading untimely hitting. I mean, that's the biggest thing about
stolen bases too.
Team, stolen bases. They're fast and they're young. But I mean, like even Evaldi, I mean, they put 4 up on him, I think, after Pham hit that home run. And like Evaldi wasn't missing pitches. They just dug down and sort of double here, single there, and then all of a sudden they're up 4-2. So I don't know if their pitching could hold up. And if Adolis Garcia is going to hit a home run every game, then the Rangers are going to win. I mean, they should be minus 1,000 if that's going to happen. If that guy cools off, I think, which can happen. There's still a lot of baseball left to play. I think the Rangers will struggle. But I don't know. I mean, they haven't lost a game on the road either. So we'll see. Nate, you got a pick here?
I mean, I guess it's the Diamondbacks are bust for me too. I mean, the only bet I actually made was on Gabriel Moreno to lead the World Series in RBIs, and then he went 0 for 5 yesterday. So my heater continues in baseball. I mean, I guess like I'll be rooting for the Diamondbacks, but like whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
I'm with Nate. This is like a whatever World Series. Remember they used to say whatever.
I was done with it right up until October, and now I'm done with it.
Remember they put the W thing up at the hand. I don't know how to do it. But
Yeah, look,
like
a lot of people are complaining. I think you guys are baseball elitists. I mean, I'm gonna watch the World Series regardless. Like, I like the Rangers. I'm an Astros fan, but I think they're kind of a fun team to watch. And I like Garcia, and I like a couple other those guys. I don't like Carter. He's annoying. All he did was get a hit off all of our pitching. But for the most part, I think they're kind of fun, and the Diamondbacks are fun. So I'm gonna watch the World Series. I think you guys are just, ridiculous. I think Dan.
I'm with Nate.
Yeah, I know you are. Well, you guys are both mad because your team lost, and then Nate's Phillies ticket just blew up in his face after he looked like the smartest man in the world last week. Not so much anymore. So what about that
Phillies epic meltdown? I mean, it's pretty bad being an Astro fan when you can't win a game at home to get in the World Series. But how about if you're Philadelphia, right? You win the 2 games at home, you win the second game 10-0, and you go home with a 3-2 lead where you're unbeatable and you get beat twice. Like, what's that about?
I mean, the Phillies are tough. I guess the one thing I'll say, here's the thing about the Astros. So only twice in the history of baseball, which is, as a sport, has been going on quite a while, only twice has a team in a 7-game series lost all 4 games at home. The Astros this year and the Astros when they played the Nationals in the World Series. The only 2 times they've done it, it's ever happened. So it's pretty embarrassing to be an Astros fan. I might switch to Texas. They're a lot more fun. Okay, Dad, regardless of when the Astros lose, like they lose a game at home, but I still get amazing sleep. And the reason is because of Healthy Cell. Tell us a little bit about Healthy Cell's REM sleep and how people can take advantage of that.
Listen, I'm going to put this up now. It comes in a packet. Dan might need this too, being in Hawaii, right? So, true story, right? So,
as I have time for sleep.
Your sister, Claire, who's in Fort Lauderdale, right? This is a true story. About a month ago, she texts me and she says, I occasionally listen to your show. I'm like, okay, well, that's more than I thought. Occasionally. I occasionally listen to your show. And yesterday when I had you on the app, you were talking about this REM sleep. Does it really work? And ... Can you send me some? Well, of course, it's my daughter. So I send her 3 boxes, right? Yesterday, she texted me back and she said, Dad, of all the things you've ever got me, this REM sleep is the absolute best. I was not sleeping well. I was tossing and turning. I get up 3 times a night. Since I've taken this, I feel better. My legs feel better. And thank you, Dad. I love you. This is from my daughter, Claire. It says the best thing ever. Go to healthycell.com, Jack's sister. Go to healthycell.com/Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla gets your REM sleep. You're going to get 20% off. This thing is like, I know if you take melatonin or I used to take Z-Quil or something, a little thing. Z-Quil, they're okay. Nothing like REM sleep. Natural. It's going to put you in the deepest sleep you've ever had. You're going to dream like crazy, and you're going to jump out of bed refreshed. All you got to do is go to healthycell.com, healthycell.com/Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla. You're going to get 20% off your order. 20% off. You're going to take this. Then you're going to chat in our show and say, just like my daughter Claire did, thanks, John. Thanks for turning me on to this because I feel like a new person. REM sleep, healthycell.com.
Healthycell.com, REM sleep. And they have a whole bunch of different products, so check them all out. Okay, let's get to a little college football here. Spent a lot of time talking baseball, more than I had anticipated, but it's always fun to get into the World Series, I suppose. I want to start here with a little Virginia matchup. Old Dominion at James Madison. Now, I guess the reason I wanted to start here is I didn't realize James Madison is ranked. They're 25th in the country. I know sometimes that happens, but I love when a team like James Madison sneaks into the rankings there, playing Old Dominion. I don't know if that's a rivalry, but I would imagine it is. James
That is
Madison.
the Royal Rivalry.
What's it called?
Big rivalry.
The Royal Rivalry.
The Royal. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, the
Yeah,
Royal Rivalry.
it's a big rivalry.
Monarchs versus Dukes.
All right. Well, good. So we got a lot of Virginia listeners. I'm sure a bunch of them are going to be locked into this game. Dan, we'll start with you. James Madison is 21-point favorite. Can they cover that spread, or is it a little too much?
Well, before I get to that question, Jack, I'd like to go on a little bit of a tangent here, if I may, about James Madison.
Sure.
So the fact that this team is not going to be eligible to play in a bowl game because of the 2-year transition rule is one of the most ridiculous things going on in college sports right now. Like, I get why this rule exists to discourage teams from moving up before they're ready, because nobody wants another UMass. But James Madison has invested in its program for decades now. They've run it like an FBS program long before they made the move. They were more than ready for this. They can't even play for the Sun Belt title, even though they're leading the East, because the Sun Belt doesn't want a team that can't go to a bowl game winning its league. And the fact that this is happening to James Madison when they're 7-0, like, this team could go 12-0, and they might not be able to play in a bowl game if there's not enough. The only way they can get in is if there's not enough bowl eligible teams to fill all these games. So it's just absolutely ridiculous. There's one idea here that I have heard that I actually like, because if you play in Hawaii, you can play a 13th game.
That's right.
So James Madison could go ahead and schedule Jacksonville State, who's in the same boat. They've also gotten to 6 wins, and they're ineligible for the same reason. Come out here December 10th. Hawaii is not going to be using the stadium, so that'd be a fun matchup.
Hey, that's a good
game.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I really like Madison's run defense. They're only giving up 36 yards a game on the ground. The pass defense is a little bit suspect, but Old Dominion's not that strong throwing the ball. So I think Old Dominion's strength matches up poorly for the Monarchs. So I like the Dukes to cover.
Yeah, so the Hawaii thing is an interesting point, because I remember when I was in high school, Alabama was hit with like a ton of recruiting violations, the Mike Shula years, and right before they hired Saban. And they would always play in it, because I don't think they could play in a bowl game for
they were banned from bowls for 2 years, so they played at Hawaii both years.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. I haven't thought about that rule in forever. It's kind of a funky one. That would be really fun if both those teams played. It is a shame when this kind of stuff happens. I understand the rule. I'm with you there, but it's definitely a shame. So Dan likes James Madison there to cover. We'll go to Nate, and then we'll go to Dad, since he's in Virginia last. Well, he's in Pittsburgh now, but King of Virginia, anyway.
I don't know. I feel like I just come on here and disagree with Dan, which means I probably just give you the dumb plays. I guess I kind of like Old Dominion. I don't know. I guess I'm just looking at sort of how this game plays out, and Dan is right. Obviously, Old Dominion wants to run the ball. James Madison's run defense is incredible. Both teams want to run the ball, though. I feel like it's just going to be kind of like a fast game in terms of like the clock moving. It just feels like a steep spread for two teams that are pretty run heavy. So I guess I'd take the points. Old Dominion's been a covering machine. They've covered 3 in a row. I'll take 20.5.
Okay, so Dad, you'll break the tie here. James Madison.
Well, right now it's 21. It just it opened up at 18.5. It went right up to 21. That's what DraftKings has got it now. But look, I'm really with Dan, and James Madison actually has a lawsuit going. Dan, if you didn't know that, they filed one, I think, on Thursday afternoon in a federal court against the NCAA, saying that this was costing them money. It was egregious. It made no sense. But the NCAA came back and said, look, in their initial briefing, it was said, when you joined this and you made this decision, the rules were clear. And so you made the decision to play in the Tier 1 league. The rules are clear. So now you're whining because you're 7-0. That's basically what they said. If you were 0-7, we wouldn't hear a peep out of you. So you knew what the rules were going in. Now you try to change them in the middle of the game. So I kind of see what the NCAA's position is. And I'm also, if you go back to Dan, the reason this rule is there is because of the UMass debacle, and that was a debacle. And so that's why they put in the rule. You got to think this stuff through. Yeah, come on, you got to think this stuff through. And but I certainly, if you're a JMU fan, this really sucks because this team is really a good football team. And look, as far as Old Dominion is concerned, they're better than they were, but they've lost 5 or 6 on the road. They allow 25 a game. JMU undefeated in Harrisonburg at home. They're very tough at home. And remember, this is a team that's gone to that FCS, or whatever you call the second tier. They've gone to that championship a number of times. So they got a great program, and they've won 10 straight. They're 5-0 ATS in the last 5 games. They've got the best rush defense in the nation. I just don't see how ODU is going to run the ball. ODU is 103rd in passing. I'm going to lay the 21 here blowout. In fact, this game's going to be over the half. In fact, if I was betting half, I'd bet ODU. I bet James Madison first half and the game.
If you like totals, you might want to look at the under on that as well. If the rush defense is as it's all cracked up to be, which I think it is. Dan, very quickly, just for our listeners who might not know anything about the UMass situation, if you could just take like a minute and just explain why this rule is in place, what happened with UMass, because I'm not sure everyone follows it as closely as we do and understands what happened at UMass.
Sure. So UMass jumped up to FBS, I think, a little over a decade ago, and the situation was just night and day compared to Madison. UMass didn't have a on-campus stadium that was big enough. They had to use the Patriots facility for a few years. Now they play their games on campus, but they still don't have the fan support. They don't have the investment. They don't have the infrastructure that Madison has had for longer than UMass has been in FBS. And what has happened is UMass has basically served as a punching bag for the better part of, I think, 12 years now. They joined before they were really ready. They joined the MAC as a football-only member. They didn't take the rest of their sports with them. Madison took all of their sports to the Sun Belt. And what happened was the MAC basically terminated the agreement when UMass didn't bring the rest of their sports along. UMass has limped on as an independent ever since in football, but they've never won more than 4 games in a season, I believe, and they've never come close to bowl eligibility.
So now the rule's in place that you have to kind of show that you're a little bit ready and be in this probationary period, but there probably could be some tweaks to the rules. I mean, like you're saying, Dan, if the NCAA knows this stuff they should as well as we do, and they should have understood that James Madison treated this seriously. And I think those sometimes the NCAA just relies.
But Jack, you can't just make a rule for one team. I mean, the rule was put in there to discourage teams from jumping early before they were ready, because you're going to have to pay a 2-year penalty. So you really have to think this through. You have to think all the financial elements of it through. Again, I'm not saying James Madison shouldn't play in a bowl game, but I'm saying that the reason the NCAA did this was because they don't want teams jumping too early. There is a tremendous financial disadvantage if you can't go to a bowl game for 2 years. So they want to be sure the teams are ready. So now they got a team that is ready. So you can't change it for one team that signed up knowing what the rules were.
See, I disagree.
I think you can, because I think what could be done is after, like, when a team shows that they're ready, like a team has made the investments, they're paying coaches at that level, they've upgraded the stadium at that level, they should be able to apply for a waiver and hit each mark on the checklist. Like, if you've done all these things, then okay, you should be ready to go. Like, another reason that rule exists is so teams can upgrade their schedule, so they're getting their wins against actual FBS competition, which Madison did from the beginning. UMass didn't.
Yeah, I mean, the NCAA is not a legislative body. These aren't laws. They make these rules up. They can change them, and they can go by case. They can ask questions like, hey, do you have a football stadium? Oh, you do? Oh, okay. Well, then maybe you can be part of our conference, our tier one. Like, oh, did you like hire a coach who has coached before? Oh, you did. So I think, I mean, I'm agreeing with Dan here because I just think the NCAA often relies on some of these really stupid rules that are very black and white, and then it's kind of how they rely on this stuff, and it does go to court. So I understand that the policy has to be rock solid, but I do think that because they're not a legislative body, they can change stuff, and it does hurt James Madison. I mean, if James Madison goes 12-0, then they would qualify for a New Year's Six bowl. Probably they'd be in the conversation, and that's like a ton of money left on the table for a team that has been treating this seriously for a long time. Now we got to get to some other games, but Nate, I'll give you the last word because we kind of cut you out of this conversation. I don't know if you have an opinion or not, but we'll end that conversation and move on after Nate.
Yeah, I mean, I like Dan's waiver idea myself. You know, if you hit certain benchmarks, then you should be eligible, because it is a shame that, you know, a team that takes such a big risk jumping up just doesn't get rewarded for it, you know, when they have such a good team.
Yeah, I think it's a shame, and I hope James Madison, they probably won't win the lawsuit, but you know, maybe they do. They should be able
I'm
to.
out here.
Yeah, that's right. Go to Hawaii, play Jacksonville State. That'd be fun. Okay, so let's run through a couple of these games. We're going to skip the Ohio State-Wisconsin one, but I do want to do Tennessee-Kentucky before we move on to some of these others. So let's just very quickly talk about Tennessee-Kentucky. This is a pretty short spread here. Tennessee is 21st in the nation. Kentucky is not ranked, but still a pretty tough team. Tennessee is -4, over under 50.5. Dan, we'll start with you. Who do you like in the SEC matchup here?
Man, I mean, it seems to favor Tennessee because Tennessee just always seems to have the upper hand in this rivalry. I mean, it feels like Kentucky's kind of gotten exposed the last couple of weeks. I mean, losing to Georgia in Athens, understandable. Losing by 17 at home to Missouri, not so much. And I know that Tennessee hasn't played well on the road at all this year. They've gotten beaten by both Alabama and Florida, but they've never shown any discomfort in Lexington. So I think they can handle
it. Dan, you're just like me. You hate Missouri. I mean, I know they're not very good, but I don't know. I watch them play sometimes on SEC Network or whatever.
They're a good team this year. I will give them that. But there's no way that Kentucky should be losing by 17 at home to Missouri. Like 7, okay. 17, no.
Yeah. Nate, what do you think? You like Tennessee here? It's a short spread.
I think I like Tennessee here. I mean, I guess I have a little bit of pause just because Tennessee isn't like exactly a road warrior team. They haven't been very good recently in those games. But I just think Kentucky's kind of a fraud team. Without Ray Davis sort of leading them,
that's
to do weird stuff.
Did you call them a fraud team?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think they're a fraud.
Fight words are coming out at 5 a.m. in Nevada. Jesus.
That's right. So Nate likes the Vols. Dad is a huge Kentucky fan because his new starting quarterback, Will Levis, went there. So he's going to take Kentucky by 1 million here. Go ahead and tell us why the Wildcats are the greatest team you've ever seen.
First of all, I got to compliment my son, Jack, who's been right on a lot of things lately. And so when I was blasting the fact that the Titans traded up for Will Levis and gave draft picks away, right? I was blasting it. I was really pissed me off because I wanted an offensive lineman or somebody who could like defend in the secondary or a linebacker or something, right? So we trade up, and he says to me, "You know what? The first game Levis starts, you're going to be on this show telling everybody what a study is and what a great job the Titans did in getting this guy and stealing him." And so he's starting Sunday, and now I love Kentucky because I love their program and I love Will Levis. So, Jack, you're 100% right there. You predicted this 6 months ago. But look, Kentucky's not a fraud. They should have beaten Mizzou, right? It was 21-20 in the fourth quarter. They had 12 penalties in that game. It was just a nightmare game. They had 3 turnovers, and they were right there in the fourth quarter. Here's the problem with Tennessee. That game last week has got to be the backbreaker of the season. I mean, you're up 20-7. You're controlling the game. You're going to beat Alabama. You're going to go to the championship. You got everything going for you. And then you crumble in the second half and get blown out and never score another point. And the letdown here is, look, Kentucky's got nothing to lose. His team is 5-2. And so I think based on the fact that Tennessee had this disaster last week and Kentucky really should have beaten Mizzou, they just, 3 turnovers, you're not going to win in FCS football in a game like that. So I'm going to take the 4.5 with Kentucky, and I think they're going to win the whole game.
I don't know why we let you on this show.
He's going to be running a radio station in Lexington next.
Yeah, right. You say that you should bet the Diamondbacks because you hate the Rangers because they made you mad because they beat the Astros, and now you say take Kentucky because last year their quarterback now starts for the Titans. So it just. But hey, look.
I mean, we need some emotional betting to balance out the logic side.
That's true. I mean, and look, that was a sharp analysis. Like you had numbers, so I'm here for it. But yeah, sometimes the emotions seem a little overwhelming. I can't believe you ever win money doing this. Okay, so let's move. Well, before we do that though, because one thing I'm emotional about, and I can get pretty emotional too, just ask anyone who knows me, is Beard Vet coffee. This is the best coffee, guys, I've ever tasted in my entire life. I cannot recommend Beard Vet more highly than anything else. You go to beardvet.com. That's beardvet.com, and you can shop for all different types of coffee here. They got everything you need. They got the Keurig cups. They got the espresso grind, the whole beans, which I like. They got the regular grind. And you can use the promo code Godzilla. That's Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla. Get you 10% off on all your coffee and beard needs. If you have a beard like I do, buy their beard tinctures and keep your beard healthy. A lot of times that beard can look a little scraggly. If you're like me, you've got some white hairs in your beard that you might need to pluck every once in a while to keep yourself looking younger. But what you need to do is go to beardvet.com. That's beardvet.com. Promo code Godzilla, 10% off all your beard and coffee needs. Love their coffee. Gets there quickly. I drink it all the time. Dad drinks it all the time. We love Beard Vet. And really just a lot of fun. Love those guys, Kenny and Sean.
You forgot the disclaimer. Now, the disclaimer is if you drink Beard Vet, you get hooked on it. That's the disclaimer. You got to travel with it. I mean, if you try to get that hotel coffee, I was staying the other day and just at the hotel and I was picking somebody up. So, how you get the coffee there and the thing. I always get one because it's free. I can't help myself. And it's like, I like 2 sips of it. I'm like, what is this? I can't drink that. Got to go to beardvet.com. Hey, Jack, I just got to ask you something. I know you talked about your beard a little bit there. What's going on with your hair? That's some crazy hairdo you got. That thing is going. You got anything for that?
Yeah, I just let it stand straight up in the air. That's always been my hairdo. I mean, I don't have much left on top. I figure you might as well let it do what it needs to do. I'm a teacher. I know people know that sometimes the kids will comment on my forehead, which is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So, but the kids are they're very supportive of the longer hair that goes everywhere. They say that so they like that I can take the hair and kind of cover up some of the bald spots. They have a lot of thoughts on how I can comb over. Yeah, right. I mean, I know what it's called. They don't. They just say that what they say is that your hair is growing back, and what they mean is that the hair that I have is covering the bald spots that are pretty egregious. But yeah, we have a lot of conversations about how my hair sticks straight up in the air all the time.
I bet our fans don't know that when you were in high school, you had an afro, and they called you Fro. I bet people don't know that.
Yeah. I mean, my hair was curly before it. I don't know why we're talking about this on the radio. Okay, let's move on to some other games here. I want to talk about Pittsburgh going to Notre Dame, mostly because I don't know. I can't figure Notre Dame out. So Dan, help me here. I mean, they're good, but are they 20.5 points better than Pitt?
Yes.
I mean, that depends on whether or not they turn the ball over, because Pittsburgh's secondary is basically the equivalent of your hair, covering up all of the blemishes that exist with the Pittsburgh offense. So Pittsburgh has somehow managed to beat Louisville because the Cardinals turned it over 3 times. They almost managed to beat Wake Forest, but That didn't work because the Demon Deacons' third-string quarterback threw a late touchdown, but because of 2 interceptions, Pittsburgh was in that game. So I don't think Notre Dame is going to shoot itself in the foot on the way that the Demon Deacons and the Cardinals both did. If that doesn't happen, then Notre Dame rolls.
Nate, you like Notre Dame here? Big spread. You're a big underdog guy.
I like Notre Dame here too. Notre Dame's a complete team. They're a good team. Pittsburgh's offense is just a disaster. I just don't know how they're going to move the ball effectively enough against Notre Dame. So I like Notre Dame. I love the big points here.
Dad, you live in Pittsburgh. I mean, I know you got to be doing it.
I'm in the Berg. You know what was interesting the other day? I was on my way home last night, and I flew home as I was just too tired to drive. It's about seven hours or so from Richmond. I was just too tired, so I'm going home, and somebody asked me, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "Pittsburgh," and they're like, "Well, what are you doing there?" It's like, "Well, that's where I live, right in the Berg," and it just felt weird, like I'm from Pittsburgh now. But I love Pittsburgh, but not in this game, right? This is a dread, and we get to see them every week because I'm here. This is a dreadful college program in football that Pitt's got right now. This team is pathetic. Let me get right off the bat. My best bet: Notre Dame minus 17.5. Why? Number one, Pitt has lost 5 out of 6. They've got 5 out of 7 losses on the road. They've lost 12 of their last 14 games against the spread as an underdog, which means when they're a dog, they're getting blown out. Notre Dame's defense ranked number 4 in the nation. Plus, they've got what is going to be a soon-to-be NFL quarterback. This is going to be an absolute blowout. You know, the game against Louisville last week was an anomaly. Louisville overlooked them, I believe. This Notre Dame team, they've had some tough patches here, but they are going to win this game, and it's not going to be close. I'm seeing 49-16, something like that. Best bet of the week, Notre Dame minus 17.5. Lay the wood, laugh your ass off.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch this game. I've just watched a lot of Notre Dame, which I never have done in the past. I mean, I have access to all the games. I don't have to watch NBC, but I don't know. I just kind of like Notre Dame. So we'll see. Let's move on to UGA at Florida, Georgia-Florida game. This is played in Jacksonville, so it's not a home game for either team. I've been to this game, years ago anyway. It's a pretty live environment, pretty toxic at times. These two teams don't like each other. These fan bases don't really like each other. And even though Georgia is the best team in the country, Dan, they have shown some weakness this year. I don't know if they've shown enough to lose to Florida, but I kind of think they might lose a game before they get to the SEC championship. What say you?
I mean, I think Georgia's schedule is weak enough that it's not going to happen. The game that I would be most worried about Georgia losing would be the Ole Miss game.
Yeah.
And because I just don't think Florida is good enough. I think that the Gators are still trying to recover from what existed beforehand, and I think Georgia's defense is good enough to completely shut Florida down. I think this over-under is probably too high at 49 points. So maybe Florida covers, but I don't think Florida is good enough to beat Georgia. And I think Georgia is going to get itself to the SEC title game undefeated. Will they lose there? Maybe, but I don't think the schedule's good enough to really stop Georgia from getting there, not because of the Dogs being that impressive.
Now, Nate, one of the things that we've made some money on this year is that first half spread, because Georgia's just been starting slow. They've been a little bit quicker on their feet lately, but is this a spot where maybe they start a little slow and you can catch some value there, or you just like the Dogs minus 14?
It's like the Dogs minus 14, I think. To be quite honest with you, they're such a better team, and I think that one of the issues for the Dogs has been they've been a little bit inconsistent offensively. Obviously, the Bowers injury we haven't talked about hurts the offense a little bit for Georgia, but Georgia also has like a billion great players. So I think you just throw in other receivers and that works out fine. I don't think they have a problem scoring. The defense looks the total looks a little actually low to me. I think they can go over 49 just because eventually probably Florida will find their way into the red zone, and Georgia's just horrible once teams get in the red zone. It's like the one leaky part of their defense. I know this. Shout out Brian Butcher, who published a very lengthy article on Godzilla Wins, who I had to edit and gave me all that information.
Yeah, you can go to GodzillaWins.com, find all of Brian's Georgia writing. He's a big UGA super fan. He takes a lot of notes during the game. One of the reasons I had him write for us is he used to just post his analysis on Facebook. It was just as long, thousands and thousands of words. And I asked him once, he's a longtime friend. I've known him most of my life. And I asked him, I was like, why you post this stuff on Facebook? He's like, well, I get so nervous during the UGA games that I take notes. Like I just take copious amounts of notes on the game because it's hard for me to focus on the game because I'm so nervous. This is before they were good. Really good. This is the Mark Richt era. And so then he just started writing it, and it's just incredible. It's such a deep dive into Georgia, but also like his brain. So if you like that type of writing, go to GodzillaWins.com. You can find that. They're unique because he's just a super fan. He's not a writer really, but I think he's a great writer. But it's by training. That's not his trade. Okay, Dad. Georgia, Florida. I bet you like Georgia here.
This is the toughest game on the card. I'm not going to bet this game. This is one of those games at 14 where whatever team I bet, I'm going to lose. That's kind of the way I look at this thing. I mean, it's tough to lay points on Georgia against good teams. I mean, they win the game. They don't win by a lot. They don't cover. You can go back to the South Carolina game. They just good teams. I mean, they're good. Other teams are good. I don't know what the deal is with this team. You can't lay the big wood on them against pretty good SEC teams. So, but I'm not going to take the 14 with Florida because I don't think they can win the game. So it's just, and you can't lay the minus 2,000 or something. So you can't lay that. So it's just a tough game, and Georgia should win this thing. But the only thing I'm going to say here is, don't you think, Dan and Nate, Georgia's playing with fire here in a lot of these games? I mean, they're closer than they should be. They're playing with fire. One of these games they're going to get nailed. I don't know which it is. Maybe it's today in Jacksonville at the world's biggest cocktail party. But one of these games they're going to get nailed. They come out slow. Somebody's going to jump on them, and then they're not going to be able to come back the way they've done. Maybe it's today. But these games are always tough in Jacksonville. So Florida gets up for it. We'll see. If I had to bet the game, I take Florida. But I don't like either one. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch, though.
Yeah, I mean, they have been playing with fire, I guess, a little bit, to steal your expression. But this always happens when you're undefeated. Like in college football, you just don't blow everybody out. And the Missouri game was tricky. The Auburn game was tricky.
South Carolina game,
when
very tricky.
Yeah. South Carolina always gives them trouble, though. I kind of throw that one out. It's always early in the year, and they love playing Georgia, and they love trying to beat Georgia. I don't know. I just kind of think that they probably do run the table. The issue with Ole Miss is not that Ole Miss can't win that game. It's that Lane Kiffin doesn't really win these big games. He doesn't upset teams like this. Maybe he could this time. The most dangerous position is if Ole Miss loses to Vanderbilt or Texas A&M, because then it's going to be like, oh well, Ole Miss isn't that good, and they can beat Georgia. But if they're like 8-1 and it's college game day and we're in Athens and like LSU or Lane Kiffin has the sunglasses on, he's throwing things and saying get your popcorn ready, they're going to lose by like 100. It's just like what happens. It's like his brand at this point. So we'll see. Look, I hope Ole Miss runs the table here and misses the SEC championship. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yes, it would be fun. It would be fun, and I wouldn't.
Yeah, we'll get you in the Sugar Bowl.
I wouldn't count them out. And if you go to DraftKings right now, I think when I looked earlier in the week, I just can't remember, but the odds of them winning the SEC championship and it was like 15 or 20 to 1. And
that's because they can't get there. Alabama has to lose 2 games in November, basically, for them to get to the SEC championship.
Okay, but if you
lost to Alabama.
You took that today, and basically, if you think Florida's going to beat them, that's your bet, because I think Ole Miss has got a shot here. So if they get beat by Florida and then Ole Miss beats them, Ole Miss can be the championship, and I think at 20-1.
No. That's not true. They're in the West. So
there's one way they can get in with Bama having one loss, and that's if Bama loses to LSU and then Ole Miss wins a 3-team tiebreaker.
Right. Yeah.
But otherwise,
I mean, maybe that could happen. But Alabama's beating the bag out of everybody. So, I mean, I just don't see it.
Yeah.
Okay. We got 3 games here left, and I really want to get to all of them, but we got to go pretty quickly before the top of the hour. I want to do Duke Louisville first. I think this is a weird spread, Dan. I'll start with you. I mean, maybe I'm just overlooking something. Duke +6 seems, I guess, odd. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like a large spread. Is Louisville really this good, or do you like Duke?
That depends on the answer to this question. Is Riley Leonard going to play? Like, if
Right, I
Riley
guess
Leonard is on the field, then give me Duke all day. If he's in a walking boot or something, then Duke's not going to score. So
Yeah.
I think the bet to make here is the under, because I think what Louisville did last week or last time out against Pittsburgh. They shot themselves in the foot. Duke's defense is a heck of a lot better than Pittsburgh's is. So I think the Blue Devils will force a few turnovers. If Leonard's not on the field, then Duke's going to have a hard time moving the football itself. So I think if he doesn't play, this total is way too high. If he does play, then the value lies with Duke +6.
Nate, very quickly, Duke, Louisville. What do you think?
I agree with Dan. I like the under. I just if Riley Leonard can't go for Duke, that hurts the offense a ton. Both are pretty good defenses. You know, Duke should slow them down a little bit. So I like the under as well.
Dad, huge Kentucky guy. You like Louisville?
Duke, I don't care what quarterback is playing. They win a game, they lose a game, they win a game, they lose a game. Okay, Louisville, whatever. They got beat by Pitt. Pitt sucks. Yeah, they had a bye week. I'm going to take the underdog here. I think Duke is going to win this game. You know, they've had a couple losses. Everybody's written them off after the Florida State game, where they just didn't look very sharp, and everybody thought that, you know, maybe they could win. And, you know, now they're into basketball season. It's like everybody's like, well, screw Duke. This is a basketball school. I like Duke here. I like the underdog. I think this is going to be a tough game. I'm going to take the points with the Dukies.
All right, so Dad's taking the points there. Let's go to Oregon State at Arizona. Now, the first thing I want everybody to do is listen. Go to GodzillaWins.com and find Dan's Oregon State at Arizona expert pick. And the reason I am saying that is because I mean, his analysis is always solid, but I really loved his pick here. I think this is a game where he sees a lot of value that I don't think other people will see. And we've been on Oregon State the entire season, Dan. So tell me what you see in this game.
I mean, the real issue is that Oregon State just doesn't get it done away from Corvallis. I mean, the Beavers have been fantastic at home, but Arizona has long been a trap game in the Pac-12, and Oregon State really struggles to cover spreads on the road. So I think this is one where Arizona comes out and gets the job done. But that said, I think the first quarter is one where Oregon State does get it done, because over the past 11 games, Oregon State 10-1 taking a lead to the second quarter. So I think that's where the value lies with the Beavers, but I think Arizona comes back after that and ends up winning this game outright.
Oregon State in the first quarter, Arizona money line, 2 sharp plays there. I really like that. I love first quarter plays in college football, Nate, because I can watch the first quarter and then I can go watch something else. I don't have to watch the whole game. If I lose, I lose, and if I win, then I can go do something else, like clean my laundry room or something. Nate, who do you think in this game? You like Arizona?
I do kind of like Arizona. I like Arizona just because I'm not sure that Arizona is getting the love that they should. Their 4-3 record sort of doesn't really tell the true story of like how good they are. You know, they probably could have won against USC. They probably could have beat Mississippi State. You know, they look like a team that should be competing for the Pac-12 championship. I just don't think they're getting, enough credit. So I'll take Arizona here.
Dad, 30 seconds so we can get to the saucy game.
I can do it in 15 seconds. Why is this game only 3? Why isn't Oregon State 9, 8, 10, 7, 7.5? Why are they 3? They're 3 because
I told you why they can't win on the road.
They don't win on the road. That's why they're only 3, and that's why I'm going to take the 3 with Arizona and win.
Yeah, I think that's
wait a minute though. One thing I mentioned in that piece, you're either taking the Wildcats on the money line or you're laying the points with the Beavers, because these teams do not play close games. The past 5 have all been decided by double digits.
There you go.
Money line.
See, this is why, Dad, you got to go to GodzillaWins.
30. Interesting.
Yeah, Dan, you're gonna talk him into this bet.
Yeah,
And if
I bet
Arizona loses,
Oregon State pulls off its best game of the season.
you're gonna get an angry email
Yep.
here this afternoon or tonight.
Yeah, if I bet the
when
money
he's like,
line,
"Oh,
if
Dan, what
I bet the
happened?"
money line that they get beat by 1 or 2, I'm gonna be pissed.
I understand.
Well, hey, look, that's what we're here for. I like the money line too. I like Dan's play. It should be fun. All right, Dad. Saucy game of the week here. 5 minutes left. Big game. Oregon traveling to Utah. Our saucy game of the week for college football: Oregon minus 6.5, Utah 6.5 point dog. Over under 47. Dad, if people like barbecue, which I hope everybody does, how can they take advantage of the best barbecue sauce in America?
This is saucy game of the week. Do you like to grill? Do you like to eat stuff? Okay, eat stuff. If you like to eat stuff and you like grilling, doesn't matter what it is: hamburgers, hot dogs, chicken, brisket, beef, barbecue, whatever it is. You got to go to redstatebbq.com. This is our saucy game of the week. This stuff, like it's like Beard Vet coffee. If I start running low, I hit the panic button. Now I'll tell you, I got my 2 favorites here. Kentucky Small Batch. Now they got 7 of these, so you can go on their site, redstatebbq.com, redstatebbq.com. Check this out. Promo code Godzilla10, save 10%. So you got a lot of different flavors. You know, the first time I did it, I got all 7, tried them all. I liked them all, but I got my 2 favorites here. Memphis Sweet, which I put on everything, and then Kentucky Small Batch. These are my 2 favorite, but you got to check these out yourself. All you got to do is go to redstatebbq.com. You know what? This is a guy that owns a restaurant that makes these, right? And he sells stuff on the side of the road. Why? Because this guy knows how to make barbecue sauce. And it's such a great story to America how you can do this. I won't eat anything else. I love my red steak. Go to redstatebbq.com, promo code Godzilla10. You are going to love this barbecue. I put on hot dogs. I put it on everything. In fact, I got it on the RV. We got it in the office, right? I got Christine Bowserman there trying to take it. So now I got to I got to remember how many I have, because then I go in there at the office. They're gone. Who took it? Bowserman did. Hey, buy your own. Go to Red State Bowserman. Go to redstatebbq.com. Stop taking my barbecue. Buy your own. You get 10% off with Godzilla 10. Best stuff ever. Plus, it's on the RV too.
Dan, Oregon minus 6.5, Utah. What do you think?
So Oregon, I actually think the opposite of with Oregon State in that first quarter play, because the Ducks are not quick starters. Other than the Colorado game, where Oregon was clearly looking to prove a point, the Ducks have either been tied or trailing after 15 minutes in all of their Pac-12 games. So Utah plus 2.5 in the first quarter looks really good to me. Beyond that, I think Oregon does cover the 6.5. I'm probably going to try and live bet this to try and get the Ducks at a cheaper price, because I just don't think Utah's offense can stand up to what Oregon's capable of for a full 60 minutes.
Nate.
I like Utah here. The offense just looked so good against USC, and I know it's not saying a lot, but I don't know. Maybe they just found a spark with their backup quarterback and their weird backup running back, Vaki, who got converted from the defense. Maybe they found something. I guess I'm willing to bet on that. So I like Utah here. I think that Oregon will struggle with Utah's run game. Utah's defense has looked excellent as usual. So I'll take Utah here plus the points.
Dad.
If it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, if it plays defense like a duck, if it scores like a duck, it's Oregon. This is going to be a rout. This is simply a better team. Everybody's going to be all over Utah. Everybody loves Utah at home. Blah, 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 blah. 6.5 joke. Love the Ducks.
Backyard Bo Nix. What a redemption story.
In his 9th year in college football.
That's right. Yeah, he's been in look, I'm a man who loves college too. So if I could be in college for 10 years and slinging the rock, I probably would.
Years.
We want to thank Dan Angel as always for being with us in college football. Senior contributor to GodzillaWins.com. Go to GodzillaWins.com. You can find all his coverage there. You can also find him on Twitter at DanAngel11, on Instagram at Dan.Angel11. He's got a lot of sharp plays that he'll give out throughout the week. Also loved, Dan, the Georgia State pick that you threw up earlier in the week. I saw that and I was like, oh, okay, Dan's we're getting to that November, December when we got just action everywhere. So
Yep.
that was a lot of fun. Good read. Thanks as always, Dan, for joining us. Up next, top of the hour, Darian Kelly joining us to talk some NFL action. We're going to go through all the games, including our saucy game of the week, which is a stunner this week. So we will see you in 1 minute.
You're listening to Godzilla Wins on the John Fredericks Media Network. For a deeper dive without the jive, visit the website of winners, GodzillaWins.com. Let's get back to the show with the guys in the know, John, Jack, and Nate. It's Godzilla Wins on the John Fredericks Media Network.
All right, we are back to talk a little NFL coverage here. Looks like my dad stepped out for a minute. Probably a little too much beard vet coffee, Nate. I know how that goes. 2 hours of sitting in a seat. Sometimes you gotta take care of business. I haven't heard from Darian this week, so I'm hoping he can join us. But if not, then we'll roll with just you, me, and Dad. Just like the old days when we used to do this on the phone, we'd call in, Dad would host the show, and we would make these picks on the phone. So the three of us, of course, can carry a show, but we always love having Darian. He's a lot of fun, so hopefully he can join us in a little bit, but we'll see. Live radio, you just never know sometimes. A lot of technical difficulties in that department. Now, Dad, before we start the show, or this hour of the show anyway, we want to talk a little bit about, let's talk about Rosie's. I'm going to switch up the live reads here. Tell us, Dad, if you're in Virginia, how you can get involved with Rosie's Gaming. Some of the best fun you can have in Virginia.
Biggest jackpots, biggest payouts. As simple as that. You like to have fun? If you don't like to have fun, don't go to Rosie's, because you'll have fun and not like it, right? How's that for a double negative? If you love to have fun, go to Rosie's. It is so much fun. The whole gaming atmosphere there is set up to have a blast. The food is great. The service is great, but biggest jackpots and bigger payouts, because when they set it up in Virginia, they don't have as high as a takeout as the other casinos. So that's why I get bigger payouts. It is so much fun. It is the fun place to go. And they got locations all over Virginia. Plus they got OTB. You can bet the horses. You can bet football. They got all the football games on. Everything is there. It is so much fun in Virginia. Now, Danville, they got a location right outside there in Collins. They got one opening up in Emporia, right? So you go to the south side. Then you go to Northern Virginia, you got Dumfries, right? That thing's the biggest one they have. They got a big hotel going there. That's fun. Food is great. Roanoke, no problem. Got Vinton right there. What about Southeast? Hampton Roads. Well, you got Hampton. What about Richmond? Well, you got two there. New Kent, where Colonial Downs is, where I go, where our suite is, and in South Richmond, right by our studio. So you got all these locations in Rosie's. They've been a sponsor of us from the beginning. If you want to have fun, this is the place to go. It's a great date night. It's somewhere to take your significant other. I guarantee you you're going to have a blast. Food is great. The other thing is the drinks are awesome, right? They got great wine. They have all the Virginia wines there. It's just a fun place. I love going. I always have a good time. Ann loves it. It is her favorite place, and we go to a lot of casinos. She loves that the best. Check it out. Go to rosiesgaming.com, rosiesgaming.com. And by the way, I got to give a shout out to my man, Nate, not Nate Perry, Nate Mize, who's the director of marketing for Rosie's. You know, they've created a culture of fun, and it really makes a difference. I mean, it's not like going into a casino. You just, as soon as you go in, everybody is so pleasant. You have a blast. Ann just came in. Ann, do you love Rosie's?
I love Rosie's. They have better payouts.
But you can't come on screen. But Ann says they got better payouts. She loves it. You just heard her. Love Rosie's.
Yeah, the slot machines, they're more active and they pay more money. It seems like to me.
There you go.
I love Rosie's.
Coming from the goddess herself.
That's right. Listen, Dad, you're right about that. Nate, we've been in some casinos before and have walked out not having any fun. I've been in
too often.
I've walked into a casino and just, not the vibes aren't always great in every casino. Sometimes they get a little weird. Sometimes they're a little unfriendly, unwelcoming, like they don't want you to have any fun. So it's good that Rosie's is able to promote a culture of fun. I won't name any casinos specifically in Reno that don't offer a culture of fun, but I do know that there are a few that don't seem to at least they don't want me and Nate's business. I'm not sure. It might sometimes. I think Nate, it feels a little personal.
It feels personal.
But listen, we just go to Rosie's. That's the main thing there. Go to Rosie's and have a lot of fun. Okay, so let's do some of the NFL games here. We're gonna run through all of them as we do. A lot of NFL games, so we got to go pretty quickly today. There's just a bunch. Some weeks there aren't, some weeks there are. I had to really kind of manipulate the run sheet here for us, so we got to go pretty quickly. Some of these games we might not need a ton of time for. We'll start with one that I don't think we need much time for. Texans traveling to Carolina to face the 0-6 Panthers. Texans -3.5, over under 43.5. Start with Houston here. Nate, you're a big Houston guy. Do you think they got a shot here or what?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Houston guy. We know that. I think they have a real shot here. I mean, the idea that Houston's kind of a 3-point road favorite is sort of hilarious at this point in the season, but it shows how good the Texans have been. The Panthers are terrible. Frank Reich's already doing the thing where he just starts destroying a team. They went on by.
Told you.
Yeah. I almost just didn't even say it just because I knew you were going to do that.
Worst coach in the NFL, and
it has nothing to do with how awake he is.
He's definitely woke.
Okay, There we go. Anyways, he's not calling the plays anymore on offense. I don't know if this Panthers offense can be saved by just having a new play caller. Texans are good, continuing to get better. If there's ever a spot to buy low on the Panthers who haven't covered an entire time this season, this is probably it. And normally I would just hold my nose and take the Panthers, but I like the Texans too much, so I got to roll with them.
I think the Texans are a real team, but you're right. At some point, the Panthers probably will win a game. It's hard to go 0-16. So, you might sometimes the NFL.
You're never going to go 0-16 against the spread.
Yeah, they're definitely not doing that. So you just kind of at some point they're going to cover games. I don't know. It's hard to see the Panthers. Yeah, I don't know, Dad. They stink. And I'll tell you what, the perennial boys club of the NFL coaching circuit is ridiculous because this guy's going to get fired and then he's going to be an offensive coordinator somewhere. He's going to show up in Minnesota or Dallas or Houston, and their offense is going to be incredible, and everybody's going to be Frank Reich's really turned around the Buccaneers, and Baker Mayfield loves him, and it's just been a really incredible run this year having Frank Reich up in the box, and I think he might be a good fit in Arizona. This is how this stuff goes. It's infuriating that we can't just get rid of some of these guys who are just absolute bums. We'll talk about that with Riverboat Ron a little bit too, who's lost the locker room. Got a lot of Commanders fans who listen to the show. Dad, do you like the Texans here?
No. This is the first time I'm going to bet Carolina all season, just for what Nate said. They're not going to go 0-16. They're not going to go 0-16 ATS. This is the game. If they're going to win a game, this is it at home. They still have Bryce Young. Hey, here's the good news. Frank Reich's no longer calling the plays. Maybe they'll actually score a touchdown. The guy's such a disaster area. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Panthers here at home because just the law of averages is why I'm going with them. And you get this is why the NFL, the parity is so much fun, right? 2 weeks ago, we're sitting here. San Francisco blows out Dallas. Everybody anointed them as the champion. Then they turn around and lose 2 in a row. So anything can happen on any given Sunday. That old movie with Pacino in it. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with the Panthers here. As much as how bad they are, I'm gonna go with them at 3.5. Law of averages reign.
So let's go Rams Cowboys now. Nate, we'll stay in Texas. A lot of magic there down in Arlington and Dallas. Rams are a 6-point dog against a Cowboys team that, as always, is hard to figure out. The evolution of a Cowboys fan, in my opinion, August, nobody more confident than a Cowboys fan in August. Then you get in the middle of the season and they start saying, well, let's just get to the bye week. If we can just get to the bye week and reset, maybe we'll be all right. And then November and December, they always seem to overperform, back to the Romo years. Again, nobody more confident going into the playoff than a Dallas fan in about mid-December. Then they lose in the first round. So we're at the point where I don't know what to think of Dallas. Nate, what do you think? I mean, -6, it's kind of a lot for a team that has the ability to lose a game by 100.
Yeah, I mean, my huge problem with Dallas is the offense just sucks now. Like Mike McCarthy has taken all the fun out of the offense. They just don't do anything exciting. Dak Prescott, throws the ball about as far downfield as, like Zach Wilson. Like he just doesn't.
Ryan Tannehill, yeah.
He doesn't move it. Yeah, he doesn't do anything. He's just not a threat. And for as long as their offense is just totally impotent like this, I just don't see how they have a chance to make a deep run in the playoffs. It just puts way too much pressure on the defense, which is great, but they can't have that much pressure on them. This is probably a pass for me. I mean, I think that if there's a spot, just a scheduling spot for Dallas to kind of look bad, and they don't need much of a reason to look bad these days, having the Eagles next week could be a little bit of a look ahead, and make the Rams kind of intriguing. Rams are probably where I'd lean, but this isn't a play for me.
What do you think, Dad?
Dallas -6. They've got to win this game. I mean, at home, this game, you got to win. 6 is a lot. They got to start scoring. I agree with Nate. I think their offense has gone backwards. I wish Sheriff Clark was on because all the stuff about McCarthy calling the plays and how exciting it was going to be. And they got rid of Kellen Moore, blah, blah, blah. He went on for 3 months, 4 months. I mean, chats, everything, sending us a million texts about, how great McCarthy's going to be calling the plays. This thing is dead. It's the most boring offense known to man. And that's what McCarthy does, right? He doesn't do anything exciting. He just kind of grinds it out. That's what he did with the Packers. So laying 6 is tough, but the Rams are not a good football team. And that defensive line, the biggest problem here, why I'm going to bet Dallas, is Stafford's mobility against that D front. They're going to be harassing him all day. He's not going to be able to get out of that. Picks are coming. So I'm going to go with Dallas here, -6. And then the big game next week with the Eagles where, Kevin Byard will get 3 interceptions, run the back for touchdowns. And the Titans are now the Eagles' feeder team. So we'll look forward to that next week.
Yeah, it should be fun. I'll play a little costume here. I'll put on my cowboy hat for the Cowboys here.
I like that hat.
Yeah, I got it at Walmart. It was like $10. Look, I picked the Rams on Monday night, like 4 weeks ago or something, and really have been like maybe longer than that, and they didn't cover and they pissed me off. So I'm never taking them again. So I'm hate picking the Cowboys here -6. A lot of magic in Dallas with the Texas Rangers. I think they cover this spread, blow them out, and then move on to the Eagles next week. So yeehaw, go Cowboys. Okay, Vikings at Packers. We'll do that game. This is kind of an interesting matchup. The Vikings are 1-point favorite, so -1 for the Vikings, over under 41.5. We'll switch it up here, Dad. We'll start with you. You like the Packers here, or
No, I love Minnesota in this game on the road. Going to Green Bay, they had a huge win, a game that nobody really gave them a Chinaman's chance in against San Francisco last week. What they were +7.5 or +8 or something. They come out. You look at how bad the Minnesota quarterback has been against on Monday night, and what his record was, and all the abuse he took. They go out, no Justin Jeffords, no way they win that game on Monday night. They go out, they beat San Francisco without Jeffords. I don't know if he's playing this week. Green Bay is underperformed. If you're a Packers fan, underperformed, underwhelmed, under everything, right? I bet them every week. I mean, they just don't cover. They're not that good of a team. They got some major issues going on both sides of the ball. I mean, they just don't win. They don't win games they should win. I think Minnesota got a huge, huge jump last week, and I see them going to Green Bay and winning this game. And and maybe clawing themselves back in the hunt here. Big defeat last week by the Lions. So Minnesota wins here. They're actually back in the hunt as bad as they started. I'm going with the Vikings. This is my best bet of the week. Vikings -1.
I don't know about that. The Vikings. What do you think, Nate? The Vikings suck.
No way. This is
Kirk Cousins, baby. Kirk Cousins. You like that? I love it.
Kirk Cousins has one good game, and John thinks they're the greatest team on earth.
You like that?
No, I mean this line feels like it's just baiting every single square better in the world to taking the Vikings. They just beat the 49ers primetime game, Monday Night Football. Things couldn't be looking better for the Vikings. They looked great in that game. Green Bay looked terrible, losing to the Broncos, who were terrible. If there is ever a sell high spot, it's got to be on the Vikings now. I don't, and I guess from an actual numbers perspective, not just sort of temperature of the room perspective. The Vikings offense only succeeds because of Kirk Cousins, which is a really weird sentence to say at this point, and his ability to throw the ball. Green Bay can hold up against the pass. They struggle against the run, but Minnesota doesn't do that particularly well. So I think it's a good matchup too. I like Green Bay.
Yeah, I like Green Bay too. I think this is a situation where you get a little bit of a overcorrection after the Vikings do anything interesting. The Packers aren't a bad team, and I think you're getting +1. It's not a huge spread here, but I think the Packers probably win that game. Take the point, see what happens. Let's move on very quickly. We're a little behind. Like I said, there's a lot of games to get to, so we're going to have to go quick. This is a game I think we can go quickly through. The Saints traveling up to Indianapolis, play the Colts. Saints are -1.5, over under 43. We'll start with Nate. You like the Saints here?
No, I mean, this is a no play for me. I hate both of these teams. I mean, they're just so. I mean, how do you? Gardner Minshew's I don't know, weird to bet on. Anyways, he's not good. The Saints are okay. They're not good either. This is probably just a no play for me. I mean, I guess if I was looking at the total, maybe this goes a little bit over, but no, there's no play.
No play for Nate. Dad, I know you got an opinion. I mean, you hate the Colts, but you kind of sometimes you've been betting them a lot this year anyway.
Saints. Listen, Colts have no quarterback. I mean, they're AR-15's out for the season. This is a blow to this team. And if you really think that what Minshew, whatever this guy's name is, what's his first name? Gardner Minshew is going to lead the Colts. Guys played with 15 teams. Come on, man. So I just don't see it. Saints have got a good defense. I think they win this game. But I just want to go back to Nate very quickly and his square bet thing. Okay, every square bet I make, I win. So I don't know what you see about square bet. What is a square bet, right? I don't even know what that means. You just throw it out there because you can't think of anything else to say. And because I beat you, so why don't we do a square bet off, right? I like the Vikings. You like the Packers. That's going to be our square bet match this week. Every week we should have a square bet off between Dad and Nate. And I'm going to kick your ass. So I'm going to go with the Vikings in my first square bet week.
Excellent.
Great. Okay, I'll write it down. Square bet off. I'm sure
square bet off.
Vikings will lose by 100, and then you'll never talk about
graphic,
it again.
Yeah.
We'll get Mike will get us a graphic. Square bet off.
Like a SpongeBob graphic.
Yeah, perfect.
SquarePants.
So let's move to the Patriots Dolphins. It's one of the bigger spreads of the week. There are a lot of short spreads this week, but nobody seems to have much faith in the Patriots going down to Miami. I think that's probably right for a couple of reasons. They always have trouble in Miami. So that's always been true. Belichick's team is a mess. But I don't know. I mean, 9.5 is a lot of points. We'll start with Nate. You like the Pats here?
I think I like the Pats here. I don't have a good reason why, other than I think that the Patriots have looked a little bit better. And I just have a lot of questions about how good Miami actually is. They run up the score on bad teams, but then they sort of struggle against better teams. The Patriots certainly aren't a quote better team that I just was talking about, but they're good enough and they're competent enough to sort of slow down Miami. So this feels like just too many points. The Patriots Yeah, I mean they're gonna be slow on offense is what they do. They're gonna run clock. This just feels like too many points and what should be kind of just an ugly, brutal game.
Yeah, Dad. I mean, is Miami that good? I can't seem to figure it out either. I really thought they'd show up a little bit more against the Eagles. They didn't. I mean, are they any good?
No, they can't stop a runny nose. They have no defense. Defense wins championships. You can't outscore everybody. But I agree with Nate, and that's why I'm betting the Dolphins minus 9.5. They run up the score against bad teams. Hey, newsflash: Patriots, bad team. They're not going to. They're not. They just don't have the offense. So what are they going to score? 14, 21. Miami is going to light this thing up like a Christmas pinball machine. The Patriot defense is not that good. It's not anything like it was last season. That's one of the problems they've had. So they go home in that heat and they run scores up. They got all that speed, all those guys running around. Tyreek Hill and them running around. They have too much speed. Patriots are slower in the secondary. This game, 49-10, blowout, minus 9.5. Easy win.
Easy
Square
win.
bet. Square
Easy
bet.
win. Another square bet. Okay.
Square
Easy
bet.
win. I don't know. I like the Pats to cover. 9.5 is way too many points in an NFL game on principle.
So you guys just hate to lay points. It's amazing. You guys, you get to the NFL, you're okay in college, right? Nate picks Notre Dame minus 17.5. But then you get the NFL. Oh, it's 9 points. Oh, it's 8 points. Oh, it's 14. It's scary. It's like Halloween. It's too scary for me. I can't lay 9.5. When they score 7 touchdowns, guess what? 9.5 doesn't mean anything. This game is going to be a track meet. See ya, Billy Belichick.
Yeah, I don't know.
Could not be more wrong.
Yeah, I think you're probably wrong on that. But hey, listen, I mean, you're at least you speak with conviction. That's the only thing I think we can ask for. You definitely believe what you're saying.
No question.
That's what makes you such a good guy on the radio when you're talking about live reads. But one of I don't have to speak with anything except for conviction when I'm talking about MyPillow, because these pillows are just incredible. They're the only pillows I use. MyPillow 2.0. Buy them all the time. I throw them in the dryer, plump them up, nice and soft. And the thing about MyPillow is they have so many other great products: slippers, robes. They got some robes. They got towels, great towels. You can't get better towels than the towels of MyPillow. Washcloths, all sorts of things there. So you can go to mypillow.com. It's mypillow.com. Put in the promo code FUN, F-U-N, easy promo code to remember. Promo code FUN. Hey, what do you have on this show? You have fun. So you go to mypillow.com. You extend that fun to savings, 80% off, up to 80% off on all products there on MyPillow. So go to mypillow.com. Holidays coming up. They make good gifts. They really do. A lot of fun. So go to mypillow.com. Promo code FUN, up to 80% off on all sorts of things. Okay. Let's move on now to the Jets at the Giants. Little Meadowland rivalry here.
I love this game.
Yeah, I figured you would.
I love this game.
If there's one thing we can count on with my dad, it's that if there's football playing in New Jersey, he is all about it. Native New Jersey guy out there, loves the Jets, hates the Giants. What do you see here, Dad? Jets -3.
We took Jack to New Jersey once to see the Rutgers football game when he was thinking about going to Rutgers, but then he didn't like it. And we took him to the Fairleigh Dickinson basketball game against Rutgers also. And Fairleigh Dickinson, my alma mater, they got blown out that game, but we had fun. And that was Jack's trip to New Jersey.
I've been to New Jersey, I don't know what you're talking about. I've been to New Jersey 100 times. I mean,
that's right, because Nana was up there. Yeah, Dad was there. I forget.
Yeah, what are you talking about? I've been to New Jersey 1,000 times.
I just forget. Yeah.
I love New Jersey, and I like Rutgers too. I mean, New Jersey's great.
You like Rutgers. We went to a Rutgers Pitt game. I think Rutgers won that game when Shambia was the coach or something. The guy that
Giano, he's still the coach.
Well, Giano, and then he go to the NFL. Then he went back. Greg Schiano. Yeah, that was fun. Listen, this is New Jersey football, baby. It's in the Meadowlands. You can't get better than this game. It's my favorite game. I can't wait to this game. This is New Jersey football in the swamp, playing over the dead body of Jimmy Hoffa, who is buried under the Meadowlands 50-yard line logo. That's where his body got buried. So it's like Jimmy. It's like the Jimmy Hoffa Bowl, right? The late Jimmy Hoffa Bowl. And you got to love the Jets here. You got to lay the 3. You got to bet the Giants. I mean, this team, two of the worst quarterbacks. You got two of the worst quarterbacks playing against each other in the NFL. Just that alone is going to make it fun. But here's the difference. The Giants dumped $140 million into Daniel Jones, and they got the salary cap going for life, right? This team is going to suck for the next 5 years until they get rid of this thing. Worst decision in the history of football. That Jets defense, Giants are going to get shut out. And if somehow the Jets can get a pick six, they're going to win this game 7-0. So if I did bet over under, I bet the under. But this is going to be a fun game. Go Jets -3. Lay the 3. Giants are going to score. They're going to get shut out. I love the Jets. Square bet Jets.
Nate, over under here is 35.5. It's pretty low. What do you think?
I mean, yeah. What other sports show can you get Jimmy Hoffa conspiracy theories mixed in with your Jets pick? Spoken with total conviction.
Total conviction.
Yeah, they took him out because look, they said it's like Robert F. Kennedy said, I can't have one guy running the trucking industry of the United States. I can't do it. So they took him out. And then they,
right.
and then of course, then we get to the whole
Now he's in
JFK thing where the CIA took him out.
Okay.
So
All right.
a lot of people got taken out.
I think you need a new show where you just have some conspiracy stuff.
It's not conspiracy. It's true.
That's what he does Monday through Friday, Nate. That is, he already has that show.
Never mind. Oh, so you already have a platform. Okay, well then we'll just stick to sports. I like the Jets too. I like the Jets because even though the Giants have played a lot better with Tyrod Taylor, without being saddled Daniel Jones just being horrible, the offensive line is still bad for the Giants. Tyrod Taylor is just actually a good quarterback, so he doesn't make it look as bad as it is. He doesn't make it look as bad as Daniel Jones makes it look anyways. Jets are still a good defense. Does it suck laying points anytime with Zach Wilson under center? Yeah. I feel pretty comfortable doing it against the Giants. Yeah, I like the Jets here.
Love the Jets. Okay, let's move to the Falcons Titans. We're a little behind, so we are going to have to speed up a little bit, but we'll take our time with the Falcons Titans. Will Levis starting against Desmond Ridder. What a matchup of elite quarterbacks here. Falcons traveling up a couple hours to Nashville to play this game. Falcons are a 2.5 point favorite. That's got to make your stomach turn, Dad. Over under is 35. Why can the Titans cover the spread, Dad?
Well, I think the Titans are going to win this game at home only because Ritter's worse than any Titans quarterback we could roll out there. I mean, look, two things. The Tannehill, the Ryan Tannehill's done. He's taken his last snap for Tennessee. His contract's up the end of the season. His ankle is bad. He's horrible. We moved on. So Will Levis is going to start this game. There's no reason to put Tannehill back in. He's done. And the only reason he would come back in is if he gets healthy, and Will Levis is a disaster. Malik Willis is not a quarterback. And the fire sale has started. They just unloaded Kevin Byard to the Eagles, where their feeder team for 2 day 3 draft picks. Unbelievable. He is a huge loss in that defense. And the safety they got for him from Philadelphia got benched by their coach, their secondary coach, because he got burned 3 times. So that's who we got in return. But having said that, this is going to be a very, very close game. Nashville's at home. The Titans are at home. And let's throw Will Levis in there and see what the hell he's got. Run the football with Derrick Henry. Win a game. Go from there. Titans plus 2.5.
Nate, gotta like the Falcons, right? Titans suck.
I think this is just an underplay for me.
30, 35, right?
There's a part of me that kind of wants to take the Titans just because I kind of want to see what happens with the Will Levis experiment, even though I'm not terribly optimistic. There's a part of me that just thinks, just take the 3 and Titans. But that's mostly just, but I just can't get behind Will Levis yet. I mean, so he doesn't beat Malik Willis out in training camp. So Malik Willis is still a second string. And then Malik Willis continues to be so bad for so long, and Will Levis still doesn't get in. Is Will Levis actually an upgrade? Or is he worse than Malik Willis, who is basically the worst quarterback in the NFL? That's
he's not even an NFL quarterback. I mean, they need to either cut this guy or turn him into a wide receiver. He's not an NFL quarterback. And the fact that they keep tossing him out there, I mean, if you saw the last two drives he had against the Ravens in England and in London, I mean, the guy has no freaking clue as what the hell is going on out there. I mean, he can't pick up a pass. He can't pick up a pass rush. He's not an NFL quarterback. And sometimes you just got to say, hey, we fired the guy that picked him from Liberty. He's not an NFL quarterback. Go away and let's go with Will Levis and see what happens. I don't even like how this thing is played out. Oh, I might alternate them. Vrabel. Oh, we'll see what happens. Oh, maybe Tannehill comes back. Hey, make a freaking decision. You just gave up on Byard. Then they're like, well, we only gave up on him because we want to get under the salary cap. It's the middle of the freaking season. His contract isn't up until 24. Give me a break. Make a decision. Let's let Amy come in here and make a freaking decision like you did to get rid of our GM. And so we have a plan. There's no plan. That's what's pissing me off. No plan.
No plan.
That's kind of where I was headed to, is that for a team that's usually pretty well coached and pretty deliberate with their decision making, in terms of personnel, this feels like desperation. This feels a lot like desperation. So, I mean, I just don't think either team is going to score that much. I mean, it's Desmond Ridder playing Will Levis. Like, how do these offenses move ball? So,
there's your score prediction.
Yeah,
I mean,
9-8.
Yeah, 9-8.
Did you put 9-8?
Yeah, let me see if I mirror the camera here. Let me see. Got it there. Falcons 9.
Falcons 9-8.
Titans 8. Over-unders 35. No one's going to score in this game. You think Desmond Ridder can throw a touchdown? I don't think so. And Will Levis, look, I saw him at Kentucky. He lost to Ole Miss. Now he's playing against Min. That's not good either. So got to go with the over-under there at 35. I think that's the best play. Stay away from the spread. Too difficult. Okay, let's go to the Eagles at Commanders. Now, we've been pretty big Commanders fans here, but saw a report this week. Looks like Riverboat Ron has lost the locker room. The Washington team slowly unraveling, as they always do at some point in the season. And now they got to play the Eagles, the long-feared Eagles. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this game. Dad, we'll start with you. You've been a Commanders guy. Commanders are +7. You like them?
I like Rivera. I always have. He was a really good player. He's salt of the earth, but he's lost the locker room, and I really can't figure out why. Nate, do you have any insight on that?
No, I don't.
I mean, but all the reports coming out of the Washington media is he's lost the locker room. Players don't want to play for him. I mean, that team has had so many problems. They had such disarray for such a long time. It's and they don't really have a home field advantage, because if you've ever been to FedEx Field, it's just horrible. You can't. It's just not a home field advantage. You can't get there. Parking, you got to walk 2 miles. It's the whole thing's. They had so many issues this team has got, and I thought new ownership would get them past it. They're not. They just got a lot of problems. The Eagles are trying to win a Super Bowl, right? I think got a chip on their shoulder. I think they go in here and they crush Washington. I mean, they just got Kevin Byard, who might be like one of the top 3 best safeties in the country. They get him for 2, get day 3 draft picks, right? They get him for nothing. Tice just gave him away. And so now they got a huge upgrade. Now they still have a problem in their linebacking core. I just don't see the Commanders staying in this game. And they've got so many problems. I think the Riverboat Ron thing has come to an end. I think he's let go at the end of the season. Just another Commanders catastrophe. So I'm going to take the Eagles here -7.
So, Nate, go ahead.
So I did a little bit of quick research. It looks like Ron Rivera's just lost the locker room because Jack Del Rio sucks at coordinating a defense, and he won't fire him. That seems to be what everyone's mad about. Is everyone's just like, can you just fire Jack Del Rio? And Riverboat Ron's like, that's my guy that allows yards in every category possible and just insane efficiency metrics for every offense that plays them. So fair to lose the locker room, I guess. This isn't a play for me. I mean, I guess I'm not sure if Jalen Hurts is 100% healthy. Obviously, he was a little bit banged up in the Miami game. It's tough to say how he looks. The bottom has to be coming for the Commanders at some point, probably fairly soon. And there will be a moment where I have to sort of just hold my nose and bet them, but I don't think it'll be this week. This is probably I'm not even gonna watch this game. This is ridiculous. I think if it got up to like 7.5, I'd start thinking like I'd give the Commanders a hard look. But I don't know.
Yeah, that key number kind of difficult to take the Commanders there. You just never know. And the Eagles can score. I mean, they can really score and they can really blow you out. They don't mess around. So I kind of like the Eagles -7 as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's spot on. I think of everything that was said today, Jack, I'm going to take that one sentence as probably the most astute analysis. The Eagles, if you watch them every week, they don't mess around. Win or lose, they don't mess around. And I think that's why this is a pretty easy bet here. They're not going to overlook Washington. They're not going to go in this game to Maryland and get beat. I think they take control of this game early and win this game, and then look forward to beating Dallas, which I think they're going to do. So Eagles are the team to beat here. I'm going to go with the Eagles.
Okay, we are a bit behind on the schedule, so we're going to go pretty quickly through a couple games, get us caught up here. That happens. A lot of games to get to. Browns traveling to Seattle, plays Seahawks. Browns are a 3.5 point dog here, over under 37.5. Nate, we'll start with you. About 30 seconds. Browns, Seahawks. What do you think?
I like the Seahawks. I still think the Seahawks aren't getting quite enough love. The Browns just look like a mess. I mean, that win against Indy last week was pretty ridiculous and was definitely aided quite a bit by some sort of strange officiating calls towards the end of the game. I think everyone watched the end of that game because it was like 4 hours long and it was the only early window game still going for about 30 minutes. I like the Seahawks. Yeah, just better team.
Dad, Browns, Seahawks.
Seahawks. If you're a Seahawks fan, let me tell you something. This team, I don't like the coach. I don't like the city. I don't like anything about him. But I also give credit where it's due. I saw a stat last week that 4 starting defenders and 4 starting offensive players for Seattle were selected in the first were selected in the draft in 23 and 22. So 8 of their 22 starters were draft selectees in the last 2 draft cycles. There's not an NFL team that can match that record. This team is very young. They're very good. They're very fast. They're very tough, and they're very good at home. I'm going to lay the 4 here with Seattle. This is a team to watch in the future, and they continue to draft brilliantly, and they draft cornerbacks, which no one does, high. And so they have that great secondary. So whatever things I don't like about Pete Carroll politically, the guy is a very good football coach, and they run a great program. They got Geno Smith off the carpet. I don't know. They scooped him up out of the garbage can, and the guy's tough. I'm going to go with Seattle here, -4. I agree with you guys. Something's wrong with this Cleveland team. Sometimes you look at them, you're like, wow, they're good. Then you look at them and say, oh, they suck. Who knows? I'm going with the Hawks at home.
Yeah, well, the Browns quarterback play can be streaky, but you're right about Seattle. They draft well and they develop. They've always done that. Pete Carroll's really good at that. That's why he's still there. He's like 80 years old, but you can't fire him because he's just really good at developing players and finding a lot of value in some of those late rounds. And they develop early. They cash in on their guys. They never miss. They're a good team. Let's do Ravens Cardinals here. Ravens traveling down to Arizona. 9.5 point spread on the Ravens. Cardinals, of course, stink. Over under 49.5. So this is a big over under. We're almost caught up here, so we got to go quickly to this so we can get to the Chiefs. Nate, I don't know. What do you think? Ravens -9.5? Or you're like, I don't know, over under? I mean, I don't know. This is a weird game.
I mean, I think it's Ravens or bust here probably. I mean, when it was like 8.5, I kind of wanted to take a 6-point teaser and tease it down to -2.5 and maybe throw like Detroit on there or something. 9.5, I don't love it as much. But Baltimore's just so much better. I mean, Arizona's just not a good team. They had the one good win against Dallas, and everyone thought, oh, maybe they're okay, including myself. And they've looked terrible since then. So I think it's Baltimore. I mean, Lamar Jackson looks good. And I think that he'll probably, they seem to have found something last week. He played incredible. I think that he'll probably play incredible against an Arizona team that's terrible.
Cardinals are not going to win another game this season. They had the one big game against Dallas, like Nate said. This is just a really bad football team. I'm not even going to go into the culture or anything else. Birdwell's a disaster. Their ownership is horrible. It just goes right down the line. This team might not win another game. So I don't know. Maybe the Ravens win by 7. You lose the bet. Cardinals are not going to win this game. I'm going to lay the 9.5 with the Ravens.
Yeah, hard to take the Cardinals here. They're a dumpster fire, and the Ravens look good. They're trending at the right time for this game, but it is a large spread, so we'll see. Okay, Chiefs at Broncos. Now, they just played a couple weeks ago, I believe, on Thursday night. Broncos, another dumpster fire. +7 for the Broncos at home in Denver, over under 47. Chiefs got all the magic working, looking like they're going to make another Super Bowl run. Nate, 7 is a weird number for this game. I don't know. I was kind of expecting more like maybe 8, 8.5. I don't know. I kind of like the Chiefs at -7. What do you think?
I think I kind of like the Chiefs -7 too. I mean, they don't just like run away from teams, but they do win and cover. They're 4-1 against the spread if they're laying more than a field goal this season, so they have been covering some decent spreads. Denver just looks like a disaster. I mean, they haven't beaten the Chiefs in years. So, I just don't see it happening right now. I mean, the Chiefs look like they're rolling. Chiefs minus whatever.
Dad,
we're laying a lot, or I'm laying a bunch of points this week. You're going to lose one of these games, right? I mean, you're not going to run the table, but I just can't bet this Denver team. I mean, they're just pathetic, and this whole Sean Payton thing is a clown show going on in there. Yeah, they won a game last week. Rah rah, big. Chiefs are not going to lose. They're not going to go to Denver and get beat. And whether they cover or not, maybe they win at the end by 5. I don't know. But again, you're never going to make money betting teams that you don't think you're going to win, right? When you take the dog, you have to say, do I think they can win? Yes, then bet them. No, then don't. 7, it's a touchdown. How much is Mahomes worth? 3? Kansas City, I think they go in here. I think they handle business and beat Denver and cover. I'm going with the Chiefs.
Little correction here. I had the Ravens Cardinals over under at 49.5. It's 44.5. I wrote that down wrong this morning, and I thought, that looks like a 9. You should change that, and I never did. So I caught it after I said it because I thought 50 for that game seems ridiculous. 44.5 is that. So let's move then to the Bengals Niners. Now, this is a game that at the beginning of the season, if you had told me, hey, Bengals Niners in October, are you going to watch? I'd be like, absolutely. You kidding me? I mean, this is the game of the week. It's got to be. I don't know anymore how I feel about that. Bengals haven't looked as strong as they have in the past. Niners looked amazing. Now, maybe not. Who knows? Still probably the best team in the NFL, but been tricky. Bengals are a 5-point dog here, traveling to San Francisco, 43.5 point total. Nate, you want to take the dog? It's hard to bet. That's a weird number for the Niners.
It's so hard to bet on the Bengals. I mean, what Bengals team do you get every week? I mean, Joe Burrow looked fine against Arizona, but then he looked terrible the next week. Now they're coming off bye. Who knows what he looks like? I don't know. I mean, it's just hard to say. And if there's ever a spot to sort of buy back the Niners, it's got to be now after 2 losses to sort of mediocre teams. I mean, I'm inclined to lay the 5 with the 49ers just because, the Bengals are so unpredictable, and the 49ers, if they're just sort of, flash any sort of form like they did earlier in the season, they should just run away with this.
Dad, you got to like the Niners here, right?
Oh, God, yes. They lost 2 in a row. Now they go home. They go back to Santa Clara. They're not going to get beat 3 in a row. This team 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, everybody thought, rollover, going to the Super Bowl, who are they going to play in the AFC, right? That's what everybody was thinking. Then they go out, they get beat 2 in a row. Now they're going back to Santa Clara. The Bengals is another weirdo team. You never know who shows up one day to the next. That defense, they're going to get all over Joey Burrow. He still hasn't looked 100%. That offensive line has got issues. And look, they're going to try to run the football with Mix. San Francisco's run defense is there. You lose 3 games in a row, you're now in second place in the division. Seattle's overtakes you. So they've got to win this game at home. They're a better team than they've shown. I think, I knew that after they beat, they blew Dallas out. I forget who they got beat, but I won that bet. That was my best bet of the week, whoever the underdog was, because I saw the letdown coming. I just saw it. And so boom, it was there. Now they got to win this game. Niners -5 blowout.
Niners -5 blowout. I think if you're Joe Burrow, you got to start getting a little bit more sleep and you got to start getting some more vitamins. And Dad, the only way to do that is with Healthy Cell. Now, we talked a little bit earlier about REM sleep, but Healthy Cell has so many great products. Tell us about one of their other products.
You know what? If you want to stay healthy, you got to go to healthycell.com. Promo code Godzilla, you're going to get 20% off. I take 3 Healthy Cells a day. Now, I'm 65. I'm a senior citizen. I got aches and pains. My arm always hurts, back hurts. So I take their joint and mobility, which is all natural. I take that every day. And you say, well, why do you need that? If you got things bothering you, if you are taking ask Jack, he come and visit me. I took 2 Aleve a day for years. I couldn't get through a day without it. And I had Aleve bottles all over the place. I had fear that I'd run out. So they're in my shaving kit, they're in my work bag, they're at the office, they're in the RV. I got Aleve all over the place. I've been taking Aleve in 4 months. Why? Healthy Cell, joint and mobility. So now if you're 25 and you feel fine, you're not going to need that. Fine. But you get a little long in the tooth, back hurts, arm hurts, neck hurts. You know how it goes, right? Get all these little aches and pains going, little arthritis, right? I now am such a believer in joint and mobility. Dr. G and Pop, I just happened to have a conversation with him offline about something, and I told him my arm hurt and what should I do? Do I need to get it checked? Do I need to go to, get the cortisone shot again or the He said, no, do this, take this joint and mobility. Haven't been back to the doctor since. I can now pick up my cup of coffee. I can shave with my right hand. Joint and mobility. It is all natural, anti-inflammatory. Takes about 2 weeks to work. Go to healthycell.com/Godzilla. Joint and mobility takes you about 2 weeks. Took me 12 days, took Ann 15 days. So depends on your body, but it's about 2 weeks. Promo code Godzilla, get 20% off. I got so many fans that have emailed me and texted me and said, John, thank you for turning me on to this. Best thing I've ever done. Healthycell.com. Promo code Godzilla, 20% off joint and mobility.
And look, if you like Godzilla Wins, support Healthy Cell. They're a big supporter of our show. They make it possible. You like writers like Dan, James Tillman, who couldn't make it this week, Nate doing the golf. Then you're going to want to support these products first. They're a big supporter of us. We love Healthy Cell. Okay. Let's move on to the Sunday night game. We're almost at our saucy game of the week, which is a surprise, but I couldn't make it the Sunday night game. Bears at Chargers. What are we doing? I mean, I know everyone, I guess, is supposed to have a Sunday night game.
They have flex scheduling in this league.
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget Jacksonville, Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Well, I haven't forgotten.
Okay.
I've been teasing it, but thanks for ruining our saucy game of the week. That's our saucy game of the week.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk Bears Chargers first. Bears are an 8.5 point dog, 46.5 point total. I mean, look, guys, I kind of like the Bears now that Justin Fields isn't playing. Maybe Badgett is the new hope here. Now, we made fun of him last week, Nate. Then he heard your criticism. He went out and answered. So I think that spread's a little big for a newly found Bears team. But I said this last week. This happens. You get a new quarterback, they win a game, then they lose 100 games. So I don't know. What do you think?
I think that second thing is probably closer to the truth. I mean, Tyson Badgett looked great last week, but he was playing the Raiders, who were terrible, who had no idea what to expect. I think the Chargers will probably have an idea of what to expect. Now, can they still charger this up and play down to Chicago and, win but not cover? Absolutely. That is 100% in their wheelhouse. Do I think there's a better way to bet this game? Yeah. 46.5 just seems like a lot. I mean, the Chargers offense is okay. They're not great. I don't know if I've seen enough of the Tyler Badgett show to really buy in on the Bears being an elite offense, despite looking pretty good against Vegas. So yeah, this is probably an under for me and no bet on the side of the game. I mean, I I can't bet on Chicago right now. That's just silly.
Dad, I kind of like Chicago here. I mean, I'm gonna drink the Kool-Aid. What do you think?
I just can't lay. How can you lay 8.5 on San Diego or LA or
True.
whatever they are?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't lay points on this team. It's another underachieving team. When they win, it's very close. When they get beat, teams that they shouldn't lose to, they get beat. Remember, Bear signed that big contract. What was it? Millions of dollars. Everybody thought, the Bolts are going to be the team to challenge Kansas City. Everybody thought, even though they got beat, they got bounced by Jacksonville. They had the 24-0 lead. They really should have won that game, blah, 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 blah. But they don't win. I mean, they do everything but win big games. So I'm going to be damned if I'm going to sit here and lay 9 or 8.5 against the Bears team that has a halfway decent defense. And it's on Sunday night. All these teams get up for these Sunday night games. I don't know who this Bears quarterback is, but, I mean, it's an upgrade over Justin Fields, who can't throw a football. So actually, this guy has an arm. He can complete a pass. And, the Bears are playing loose. They're not going to win anything, but I mean, the Chargers are just underperformers. I would hate to be a Chargers fan because it's like you should win these games. You don't. And 8.5 is just way too many for me. So I'm kind of with Jack on this thing. If I'm going to bet the Sunday night game, I'm just going to take the 8.5. The hell with it and have some fun.
Yeah, I mean, why not? But I'm not going to watch it. So what do I know?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not going to watch it either. I'm
just going to watch.
I'm going to bed.
Yeah, as you should. Okay, that leads us to our saucy game of the week here.
Saucy game of the week.
Brought to you by Red State Barbecue, our favorite barbecue sauce in the history of America. This is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars traveling up to Pittsburgh, the Burgh, where Dad is. This is a good and weird game. Jacksonville's 5-2. They're -2 in this game. The Steelers are 4-2. Over under is 41. I think it's an afternoon game. I think it's a noon game. But I really wanted to put it here because I just think, I mean, we knew Jacksonville was good. I'm not sure we knew Pittsburgh was that good. And then now, Nate, you've got the Tomlin cover thing going on at +2. So I mean, this is going to be a good game. I'm not going to be able to watch it because I have to watch the Saints because that's my region. I don't get Jacksonville. I have to watch the Saints every week. It's annoying, but maybe I'll catch the recap. Nate, we'll start with you. Jacksonville, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, so this is the ultimate Tomlin rah-rah spot, right? Tomlin home underdog is something around 70%, I think. If the number gets over 3, it's a silly percentage. This is an over 3. This is Jaguars -2 right now. My gut instinct is always just Tomlin is a home dog. Boom, book it. But before it hits on that key number, at 2, I kind of like Jacksonville. I mean, Jacksonville just looks like a real team, and the Steelers don't. The Steelers are 4-2, but they're not good. They don't run the ball particularly well. Kenny Pickett still sucks. The defense is good, but vulnerable to some passing. Jacksonville their defense sort of forces teams to throw the ball. They're pretty good against the rush, which means that Pittsburgh is going to have Kenny Pickett win this game, which sounds troubling. And Jacksonville's secondary is good too. So I think that just matchup wise, this all just screams Jacksonville for me. So I think I like Jacksonville.
Dad,
yes.
Red State Barbecue, saucy game of the week here.
Check
Best barbecue
this out,
sauce in
baby.
the country.
Hey, I'm so hooked on this stuff. And Bowserman is listening to me now. Stop taking the Red State Barbecue out of the refrigerator and taking it home. Don't do it. Buy your own. Go to Red State, because we actually fight over this at the office. Go to redstatebbq.com. redstatebbq.com. The saucy game of the week. You're going to love this stuff. Oh, I love my Memphis Sweet. Just had it last night when I got home. Ann's got it going, right? Had a little chicken. We're going to be grilling, right? During the game, I'm going to be out there grilling. I love my Red State BBQ. Go to redstatebbq.com. Promo code Godzilla10. Get 10% off. Thank me later. And thank you, Red State, for being a sponsor of Godzilla Wins. I really appreciate it. You're going to love 7 of these flavors. Pick out the one you like. My 2 favorites, Memphis Sweet and Kentucky Small Batch. Now, I'm in the Berg, baby. I live in Pittsburgh. I'm loving the Berg. So when you're in the Berg, what do? Well, you got to root for the Penguins, which we now carry on our Pittsburgh News Talk sports stations. We carry the Pens. But Pittsburgh, baby, at home, right? Steelers, everybody's coming in. I love the Steelers here. Give me Tomlin as a home underdog. This place is going to go crazy. Now, I'm going to my first Steelers game on Thursday night. I got 4 tickets sent to me by the Steelers because we're their NFL affiliate Thursday night against Tennessee. The question is, do I wear my bling or not?
No. I
No.
don't think you do.
Ann says
put on a
she's
white
going.
shirt.
Mom says she's going incognito.
Yeah, I think I would too.
I just put my hat on so I kind of can, give a little golf clap when we score. But look, it's really tough to bet against Pittsburgh at home as a dog. I'm going to take the 2. This is a saucy game of the week because this is really going to be a fun game. I mean, if you're an NFL fan, this is really going to be a fun game to just participate in as a fan watching it. And if you're there, certainly in Pittsburgh, it's going to be fun. Jacksonville now has a fan base, right, that actually travels with them. So there's going to be some Jacksonville fans here. But I'm loving the Berg. I love Pittsburgh. I'm going to go with the Steelers here. And it's just that Mike Tomlin at home, and they're fun to watch. But you never know who shows up. Kenny Pickett, who the hell knows what's going to happen from one week to the next. We do know they got a good defense, and I just love them at home. And there's nothing more fun than seeing Tomlin, I'm a Christian, walk around that sideline with this huge crucifix on, which he's had forever. There's a fun team, and this is going to be a fun game, and I'm going to take the 2. Go Steelers.
Yeah, I think I'm going to zag here. I think I'll take Jacksonville. I like pretty much everything they've done this year. I think the Tomlin numbers are so tied to Roethlisberger that I'm just not sure he's a cover machine with Pickett. Now,
it's like the same way that we think about the Patriots and like their trends are all Brady and not Belichick.
Yeah. Now, that's not to say, I mean, to be honest with
Good point.
I think Tomlin is performing much better than Belichick ever performed.
Yeah.
Or has performed after Brady. So it's not a totally fair comparison. It's hard to sort of, it's weird to think that maybe Belichick isn't that good a coach, but I'll tell you what, I got a friend in Reno who has been saying this for years. He thinks Belichick sucks, but he also thought Brady sucks. He's a Raiders fan and is mad. He's still mad about 2001. So, talk about a guy who's hate betting against the Patriots ever since that 2001 game. So, I don't know. I mean, I think I kind of like the Jags here on the road. They're just a better team, probably. I think probably what is going to end up happening is that Pittsburgh's going to regress a little bit to the mean. They're not going to win this division. So I'm going to take Jacksonville -2. I think that's a good spot for them. I would usually just take Tomlin as a cover machine, but I think in this game, I kind of like Jacksonville. I just like what they're doing a little bit more. So, we'll see. Now, listen, we got one more game here. Las Vegas Raiders traveling up to Detroit on Monday night, play the Lions. Lions are an 8-point favorite, 46.5 point in the total category. Nate, we'll start with you. You got about 30 seconds each for both of you for this game. Who do you like on Monday night?
Lions are better at home than they are on the road. I don't think last week's loss was, indicative of this team. Lions are still really good. They're going to be fired up hosting Monday Night Football. This is only the second Monday Night Football in Detroit since 2014.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. So going to be a live atmosphere, I'm sure. I'm sure people in Detroit are fired up. I think Detroit just rolls. I mean, Vegas is terrible.
Lions bounce back. Lions bounce back after their defeat last week. Vegas is really horrible. Poor Jimmy Jesus. I'm going to go here with, although I wish the Titans had him. I'm gonna go with the Lions bounce back game. Nate's right. Monday Night Football, second one since 2014. This place is going to be rocking and rolling, and I look for a really, really offensive juggernaut here coming out, scoring a lot, and just ending this game early. Let's go with the Lions -8, big time.
I like Vegas in this spot. Detroit just tends to they tend to just let everyone down.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, they're in games like this, they're still Detroit, and I mean, I'm not saying Vegas money line, but I'm gonna take the 8 there. That's a lot of points on a Monday night game. You don't see a lot of blowouts happen on Monday night. These teams are a little bit more evenly matched than we think, but we'll see. Listen, I want to thank everyone for listening to the show today. We weren't able to welcome in Darian, but he'll be back with us soon. We want to thank Dan Angel for giving us the college football goods. Always, we want to thank Nate Perry for coming on with us, senior editor at Godzilla Wins, football god, Nate Perry. And then, of course, my father, the Godzilla of Truth, John Fredericks, who is ready for the Square Bet Off next week. Maybe we'll get a graphic there. You'll have to watch that game closely. Minnesota at Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Square Bet Off. So want to thank everybody for listening. Please join us next week. We'll see you then. 8 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. sharp, college football, NFL, all season longs, and go to GodzillaWin.com for all of your sports picks and predictions. Good luck, everyone. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.